Oh,
Now we're live. All right. Hello, world. Hello, YouTube. How are we doing out there? So this is the first episode of RetireJapan TV. We don't know what we're doing, which is why we haven't told anyone that we're going to be doing this tonight. So if you're joining us and you're a bit confused, don't worry, we are too. So I'm here with Daniel, who is one of the unsung heroes of the RetireJapan community. Very much the force behind last year's RetireJapan conference. He single-handedly rescued the site a few weeks back when it crashed and died. And and he's agreed to help me out with RetireJapan TV. So thank you very much for being here. And what are we going to do tonight?
To all our viewers, all the viewers that we've got, talk about who we are briefly, I think, but then, anything to do with personal finance for people living in Japan. I think it's going to be very useful, but that's a broad topic. I mean, it sounds pretty niche, but I think it's a lot of stuff. So if we just focus on one or two things.
Yeah, and in future streams, if anyone can be bothered to join us, we'll be happy to take questions and have comments and things. So.
Yeah.
Today, though, we probably just start off by introducing ourselves. So my name's Ben. I've been running RetireJapan since 2013. I started it because I wanted to share information with people in English, and it's kind of grown organically from there. It started off as a blog. I think the forum might have come next. We started building out kind of information pages on the site. And then we've had, the online conference last year. We've had a few live events in the before COVID. We're thinking of having a live event next year again, maybe, so that back to a real conference. And started YouTube properly, probably a couple of months ago. So we're now trying to build a bit of a presence on YouTube as well, which is why we're here talking into the ether.
Yep.
So who are you and what are you doing here?
Well, you mentioned the live in real life things. That's how I met you and found out about you. I was in Meguro. I worked in Meguro at the time, several years ago. I walked down the street and saw a sign for personal finance for foreigners living in Japan. And
oh, wow. So you didn't see it online. You just saw the physical.
I don't think, physical thing. Yeah. Because it was right close to where I worked. I don't know if you've had the same thing in the past, but I used to get people phoning up the office because it was a foreign company. You get people phoning up in the office saying, "Can I speak to so and so?" And it's, wow, who's this? And they'd be, "Hey, I've got this investment advice, and really like to help foreigners living in Tokyo."
Oh yes,
and
help, yes.
Always sounded dodgy, so no thanks. And then I saw the sign, and for some reason I thought, "Oh, this could be okay." Because it's not like outwardly trying to sell something to me. It's like I'm in control of whether I go or not. And so, okay, I think I had to pay for it as well. That's it. You had to pay for it. Which
it was. We had to cover the venue costs.
Something like that. Yeah, it was a minimal fee. So that gave it, that made it seem not suspicious. And
nice.
It was incredible.
So we should charge more to seem more reputable.
Charge more. So anyway, I've been interested in personal finance for a long time. When I was a teenager, I used to look at stock prices in the Financial Times and just think, "Wow, if I'd have bought that one, I could have, got £30 or whatever." And I'm a bit of a nerd. I'm a techie guy. I'm originally a web developer, and the way you explain things was just so logical and clear, and things that I've been in Japan 20 years now. At the time, I'd still been here a long time, and how am I only just hearing about this for the first time? This is like, I'm sure if I would have been doing it, if it was important, I would have known about it. But all this new information came out, really clearly explains, I've got to do that, I've got to do that. And you've saved me a lot of money over those.
Oh, nice.
Since then.
That's what we're here for. Yeah.
Very happy to help out.
Awesome. And now you're saving me by keeping me company on RetireJapan TV. I like it.
And if we can do the same thing for other people who are, not necessarily newly arrived or been here a long time, just don't know about all the things that are available to them, then it's going to be very useful for a lot of people, I think.
Fantastic. And that's why we're on YouTube, really. We just want to reach as many people as possible and provide impartial information. That's my new tagline. So impartial information about personal finance in Japan.
Yeah, Well, that's a good point. So people watching this for the first time, how do they know you're not secretly trying to sell them something?
Well, I am. I mean, well, no.
Oh, that's not what
No, I think basically the Retire Japan ecosystem, as far as there is one, I think 90% of it's free. And that's, you know, my kind of standard answer is all the information is out there free. So we've got the forum. You can ask questions in the forum. We've got information pages. All the YouTube stuff is informational. There are some paid things. There's a couple of ebooks, and I do coaching, and there's a course that we'll talk about in a minute. But that's it. And other than that, everything's free. And yeah, so you don't have to pay. You shouldn't. I mean, don't pay for anything. Just come in and get all the information, and then go and be happy. Is the kind of.
I think the forum is
there.
a big part of that. I'm not super active on the forum, but when I have a question, I'll go and lurk. And often with finance, you don't know who to trust, but there's so many people contributing in the forum. It's like, okay, this is going to be valid information because there's so many people sort of correcting each other and giving their own personal views.
Yeah, we're basically crowdsourcing the answers.
Yeah.
So it's the wisdom of crowds, like, you know, on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Like the best option was always ask the audience, because on average you'd get the answer. Yeah. So it's a bit like that, but yeah, there's enough people with different or the same answer that you can kind of figure out, okay, this seems to be the right one. Yeah.
Do you have professionals on there? Because sometimes some of the answers are really deep and precise and about tax or whatever.
Yeah. There's a few people where I'm like, okay, so you obviously do this like as your day job. Like, yeah, we have definitely a few people that either work in finance or work in, you know, kind of accounting and so on. Yeah, which is good, because I'm not particularly good at that stuff. So I'm really happy for people to come in and share their knowledge. The other good one is actually on Reddit, the Japan Finance subreddit is pretty good. Like, they're really good on technical tax issues, especially. But it's still Reddit. So, you know, there is, it's not a bad subreddit, but it's still Reddit. So there's like 20% unpleasantness kind of thing.
Right.
The mods are pretty good on there, though.
That's reddit.com/r/Japan Finance, I think.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a really solid place to ask questions, I find.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So when we came up with Retire Japan TV about 20 minutes ago, we kind of scrolled out an agenda, and the first one was a kind of news section. So any news from either Retire Japan or just in general in Japan, you know, finance related news, we'll just talk about briefly here.
Yep. So
first one, incredibly exciting for everyone, I'm sure. We're trying to choose some colors for Retire Japan. We're actually doing some. So it's not quite a poll because we had too many options to make a poll on Twitter, but there's a Twitter thread where we're asking, you know, which one's good, or a Facebook thread, and we'll link to both of those in the description. But I just want to show you super quickly now. So how's that? Is that visible?
That's visible to me.
Yeah. Is it visible on YouTube?
Double check. There's a slight lag on YouTube.
Can you see that?
It's got a lag.
Oh,
there we go. Yeah, so it's about 30 seconds lag, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. We're like 2 minutes behind, aren't we? Yeah. Sorry. So it's up now. Okay.
It is, yeah.
Just for future reference, we know that we can show slides. Good. So we got these 5 color schemes. So we've got, I guess that's yellow on red, maybe, and then blue on orange. I call this bone on slightly darker red, yellow on this kind of teal. Would that be teal? I think you're muted there. Okay, there we go. And then yellow on black, which is kind of our traditional colors. So I'm kind of torn. Do you have a preference?
With colors in general, I do. So going back to my web developer background, I tend to go for things with a higher contrast because there are sort of guidelines as to the contrast ratio you should have for text on backgrounds, and it's for people with vision issues, but also for people on a mobile device standing mobile device standing outside in the sun. If it's poor contrast, you can't make out what it is. So I like higher contrast. So number 3 seems pretty good. There are tools where you can actually check the color values, but looking at this, number 3 and number 5 look particularly clear. Maybe number 2 as well. You already use black and yellow. Do you have strong feelings about moving away from that or sticking to that?
Well, I'm half of me is like, it's not broken, so we don't need to fix it. And they're striking colors. They work quite well. I do like number 3 as well. Like I think it feels kind of elegant. And 2 is quite striking, I find. Yeah.
2 reminds me a little bit. I'd
probably say not number 1 or number 4. Like number 4 is a bit too wishy-washy, and number 1's, I don't know, it's kind of, yeah.
The red sun is a bit of a cliche, isn't it?
Yeah. So 5 seems popular so far online, but the polls are still open. If you have a strong preference, please do come along and let us know. It's not decided yet.
The number 2, the orange in there, reminds me of family restaurants over here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, 3 is striking, and 5 is probably the most eye-catching, isn't it? Like you could shrink that to a tiny size and it would still work, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, if you would like to comment, find the Twitter or the Facebook link in the description, go in and comment down there. All right, what was next? Yeah, we're going to talk about NISA, weren't we?
Rumours. I haven't been following this closely, other than they seem to be for the good if they really happen.
Yeah, I mean, are you using NISA at the moment?
Yes.
Which one?
I have the what is it? Higher value but shorter time period one, the regular one. And my wife has the Tsumitate NISA.
Nice.
Because she has no interest in investing, so just put it on automatic, fixed amount every month, doesn't have to think about it. I like dabbling and losing money by myself.
So you're trading, right? Okay, you're picking stocks.
Yes, because I just enjoy it so much. I know it's not. Well, I go for high dividend stocks personally. Nice. If I don't get the ones that grow much, at least I've got income coming in. That's my theory. And yeah, I'm buy and hold, so I don't trade and try and time the market. I'll just buy it and hold it forever.
I was doing that until the beginning of this year.
Oh, right. And how did it go? Why did you stop?
Well, 2 reasons. One is that I kind of realized that there was a Forex kind of complication, because I had mostly US stocks.
Right.
So I was getting dividends in dollars, and then I was like, wait, I'm supposed to keep track of the exchange rate for these?
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to do that. And the second reason was I started thinking about retirement, because I stopped working in March. And I thought, I don't know how to spend down this portfolio, because I wasn't getting enough dividends to live on.
Right.
So I'd have to start selling stuff, and I was like, I don't have a system for knowing which things to sell, as I get. So I was like, I'll just switch to mutual funds, and then it's super easy. I've got one thing basically. I've got one international stock fund. If I need money, I'll sell some. Like super easy.
Yeah.
So that was the main criteria. I wanted to simplify everything. Because there's a blog post from a couple of years ago where I listed out all my holdings, like total. And there were 60 different stocks in there, and it's just it's a bit of a mess.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm not that bad. I have I limit myself to 10, and so when I have some money to put in, I will then, whichever one has the lowest value, I'll put it into that one, and that's hopefully my way of buying low and eventually selling high. And I'm sticking with those 10 unless something changes from my original sort of analysis of it.
Right.
So JAL, for example, almost as soon as I started buying JAL, they cut their dividend, and it's been 0 for several years. But I feel the fundamentals are good enough, and because it's such a big company with so much government holdings, and the government seems to own a lot of.
Well, they went bankrupt like a few years back, didn't they?
Right, that's it. Yes,
and then the government bought them basically.
So I figured, okay, that's probably a safe one to hold on to.
Yeah, my wife's cousin was a pilot at JAL.
Oh, wow.
And his wife put all their money into JAL stock. So when it went bankrupt, not only did he lose his job, they also lost all their investments. So yeah, that was a really good example of why you shouldn't invest all your money in your own company.
Right. That's a really
diversify.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah, he got over it. He's got a new job. He flies for a different airline now, but it was I think it was pretty traumatic. Yeah. He's a farmer. He grows rice now.
Wow, that must be awful.
Right. Oh yeah. So we moved to the rumors. This is going to be a long episode, isn't it? We talk about NISA rumors. So basically, a few weeks back, I think the FSA, the Financial Services Agency, put out a document that said these are the changes we'd like to see to NISA. So they want to simplify it because NISA is stupidly complicated. Given that it's supposed to encourage people to invest who haven't invested before. It's so complicated that it takes me about 5-10 minutes to explain it to people, and it shouldn't. It should be a 30-second no-brainer, right? So they want to simplify the structure, and they want to increase the amount you can put in. Maybe combine Tsumitate and regular NISA, because that choice is off-putting. Basically, people are like, I don't know which one I want, so I'll just not do it.
Yes,
I think they're just going to make one NISA account, a kind of combined. I think they were calling it a Sogo NISA or something. And they want to increase the amount you can put in, and also maybe remove the time limit, which would make it the same as the British model, where you put it, there's a limit on how much you can put in each year, but then it's tax-free forever until you sell it. And that would be amazing. Like, there's so many people going, please, 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 about that. And they also said they might let kids use it, because junior NISA is finishing at the end of 2024. And at the moment, there's nothing to replace it. So there's no tax-free investing for children anymore once that ends. So if children can use this new NISA account, then that would be great.
Right. Wow.
Especially if it's tax-free forever, because then, you put money in your kid's account now, and like 8 decades later, when it's worth hundreds of times what it was when you put it in, they can get it tax-free.
That would be very good. Yeah.
However, it's not all rainbows, because the tax ministry doesn't like it, obviously, because it will reduce their take. And Komeito doesn't like it because it favors rich people. Like, that's ever stopped the government.
But does it though? Because it's trying to encourage non-investors to invest.
I think it's this populist thing where anyone who has spare money to invest is, rich and therefore doesn't need it.
Right.
Why are we helping these kind of not poor people? Kind of, it's just posturing, because it's the LDP government anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
They ran Abenomics. They ran the Olympics. So I don't think they can really talk about helping rich people or anything. But that's the public thing, and because they're an important partner with the government, Komeito and the LDP, they kind of join. So they do have quite a big veto. So we'll see how that plays out. Basically, Kishida went to New York and gave a speech about it. So he was pushing it, but then he's not doing very well at all. It's like scandal after scandal, isn't it? So
So what's the timeline for this, whether it's going to be accepted or not, or watered down?
Yeah, I think we'll have more. We'll actually have news rather than rumors, probably early next year.
Okay, so this is not going to happen for the upcoming tax year.
Probably not. Sure. No, it would be announced, and then they'd probably start it from 2024, which would be good timing because I think at the end of 2024, the new NISA is starting, which is going to replace the regular NISA. So they've already made a new version of regular NISA, because regular NISA finishes as well. But it's even more complicated. So hopefully they'll just scrap that completely and make a kind of simplified, unified NISA. But we'll see.
Otherwise, it's going to be that 1 year of new NISA and then another year of new NISA.
Because the new NISA takes the ordinary NISA and it makes it more complicated by having different tiers.
Yes.
You can put different investments in.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. It's strange, isn't it, for Japanese government to complicate things?
Yeah. So, but we will be talking about it once those announcements come out. We'll definitely be featuring it on RetireJapan TV right here in your browser.
Good.
All right. There's more exciting news, isn't there?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So one thing that I thought was pretty cool is someone's made a Furusato Nozei website in English, a portal site. So you can go to the portal site and find, your gifts that you can donate money and receive the gift, and that will come out of your local inhabitants taxes. So if you haven't done Furusato Nozei before and you're kind of interested, but you were caught up by the language barrier with the other Furusato Nozei portal sites, you can use the English one now. So it looks okay. I'm not a huge Furusato Nozei kind of guy, but Daniel, you've done it, I think.
I have, yeah, for the last few years. I like it a lot. I'm not sure how it works from a salaried professional point of view, because I don't have a full-time job at a regular company, and they do all your tax for you. It's very easy. So I had to do my own tax at the end of every year. The Furusato Nozei stuff, whatever I buy, or whatever money I should say, I put into the Furusato Nozei system, works out as a reduction on my tax. I'm going to have to pay that tax anyway. So the benefit of the Furusato Nozei system is that I, one, can spend that tax through the year rather than all in one go the following year when the government wants me to, which I find good. But also I can choose, actually three benefits. I can choose which town or prefecture to give that money to. And then three, which is the big one that everyone focuses on, is I can get gifts. And so in the past, I've had a lot of beer, actually. I really like beer because it's just, I'm going to get it anyway. I'm going to buy it anyway, and it just stays there. Also rice, we like getting rice, and sometimes we'll get different fruits. So we concentrate on, food and drink. Although I did get a little amplifier. I play the ukulele, so I can plug the ukulele into this little portable amplifier from some city in the south.
Okay, that sounds like a traditional product from some some town.
Yeah, it's made by Roland. So I think once or twice people have got into trouble for giving gifts that weren't from that particular locality. But this is from Roland, from whichever city is the hometown of Roland.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, a few years back, it was pretty Wild Westy.
Yes.
And one town in particular was giving away Amazon gift cards as their Furusato Nozei. And they made out like bandits one year. They got like, billions of yen in donations, because obviously an Amazon gift card is great. And the ministry cracked down, and they were like, "Yep, we're not doing that anymore." You have to, it has to be local gifts that help the local economy and that kind of thing. It's a double win for the towns. They get extra tax money, but they also get to give that money to their local farmers or producers or whoever.
Yes. So a couple of caveats about it. One is that there is a limit. Well, actually, no, you can put as much money as you want into the Furusato Nozei system, but that's only going to get taken off your end of year tax bill up to a certain level. And that depends on your income and how much national insurance you're paying and all that kind of thing. So you have to kind of work that out. And maybe this English website has a sort of a quick calculator to do that for you. Most of the sites do. So I always look at that, and then just to play it safe, I don't go up to that limit because I've probably miscalculated something.
Yeah, it's always good to be slightly conservative, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Because because you're only getting about a 30% value for your donation.
That's right. Yes.
So if you go out and you pay with a credit card basically and get a refund later, don't you?
Yes, that part is really straightforward. You just buy it with your credit card. I mean, once you're sort of registered with the site, I'm actually registered with 4 or 5, I think, depending on what offers they have.
You're the Furusato Nozei godfather. Like.
Yeah. So you treat it like a shopping site. You go and buy the stuff, and then that city or whatever will take your order and then pass it on to the farmer or whatever that's going to deliver your gift. So sometimes it can take a while for you to actually get the thing. I'm actually still waiting for a sort of oven pot thing from, I think it's a year ago. It's ridiculous. They've sent an email several times saying, "Oh, we're really sorry, but we're really having trouble getting hold of these." But generally, it's been a week or two. So yeah, it's not the kind of thing you jump on there and get next day delivery.
Okay.
But in terms of ease of use, it's very, very good. You have to be paying with the billing address the same as your tax address.
Okay.
Otherwise, the tax office, when you finally go and submit that paperwork, is not going to believe you when you say it's your contribution.
Right. Okay. A lot of places will do it for you, won't they? There's a one-stop system where they'll just do it?
Yes, I think if you're a salaried employee, then the one-stop
Yes, that's
system
what it is.
best.
If you do a tax return anyway, you have to do it on your tax return. But if you don't,
Yes.
if you do the Nenmatsu Chose through your company, where they do your taxes, there's this one-stop system where you can do it automatically with my number.
That's it. Yeah. So
yeah, and there is a 2,000 yen fee though. So the first 2,000 yen you don't get refunded, right?
That's right. Yeah. So at the beginning, I thought, oh, does that mean I have to go somewhere and pay 2,000 yen before I can do it? No, you just buy the stuff as normal, and they'll just take off that 2,000 yen when they work out how much you do. But if you use it throughout the year, it's still definitely worth it. If you do the manual sort of paperwork submission yourself, you have to hold on to the receipt that comes.
Yes.
If you haven't got that, it's like you haven't paid the tax, so you're going to have to pay it again. So yeah,
you've just spent your money on incredibly expensive beer.
Yes, yeah. But no, I found it very, very good. In one instance, so I probably like you on the JET program, I was sent to some small town in rural Japan. So I've given money back to them just because that's where I feel I'm connected with. And then other times I'll look for a particular beer that I like, and then I'll do that in Tottori again. So yeah, it's quite a bit of flexibility there, and there is a huge range of gifts and things that you can look at.
I might have to reconsider.
It's been great.
and take a look at the new English portal site and see what it's like. See if anything catches my eye.
Yeah. You can get stuff in advance, so you can, with fruit in particular, buy it and then.
They'll send it when it's in season.
Yeah, so like
fantastic
something, and then a couple of months later when it's in season, you get a surprise package that you've forgotten about. Oh, peaches, forgot about that, and that's really nice.
I think my wife does it.
Oh right,
we'll get these crates every so often. She's like, yeah, it's my thing, it's my gift. So.
Yeah, it's worked well for me.
Awesome. So yeah, Furusato Nozei, and you can do it in English now. We'll put the link in the description. Okay, we should keep track of all these links that I'm promising to put in the description. Yeah, should make a note somewhere. I think I will make a note. So what's our next news item?
Right, next on the news we have the course you've been running. So you've been doing your first 10 million yen course.
Yes,
I was hoping
it was
for
the
$10
first
million,
one.
but whatever.
Yeah, so I chose 10 million yen because it's kind of a significant amount of money, but it's also, I think, achievable for most people. Yeah. You know, if you get serious about saving and investing, you know, within 5 or 10 years, you can probably save up 10 million yen. And then once you've done the first 10 million yen, it's going to be easy to get the second 10 million yen, and that's going to grow and compound. And so basically, if you can get to the first one, you're going to be all right financially.
Just, for people who might be new here, at the current exchange rate, that's roughly $70,000-ish.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not impossible either, you know, so... So the point of the course is basically to give you enough information and encouragement to get started, and then kind of go for that. We did it over 3 months, 6 sessions, 2 hours on a Sunday evening. We had 20 participants, and it was really fun. So it was my first time running a live course online, and I enjoyed it. So I hope the participants did. And we'll be running it again in January. So again, we'll put a link in I really need to write down these links in the description, don't I? So.
Yes, I've got a couple of questions about that. Is that so? It's live, so people have to be there in person.
Well, we also recorded the sessions. So anyone that missed the session, even people that came to the session and want to review the video later, they'll get a recording of the call. The 2 hours or the 2.5 hours of call. The nice thing about recordings, I guess, is you can watch them on, you know, sped up. You can put it on double speed or whatever. Yeah. And then, so it's my first million. So it aimed at people sort of 10 million.
Sorry, big first 10 million. Kind of getting started, but how basic is it? Do you cover like, here's how to clear your debt, here's how to make a budget, or is it more focused on the investing pension side?
Yeah, so it's kind of both. So we start, I mean, the first module is, you know, what's your situation? Are you aware of your situation? Because a lot of people aren't, right? They don't. A lot of people are not really conscious of how much they spend on what and how much they earn, and, you know, what their assets are and their debts and so on. So that's the first session, kind of getting clear on that. And then the second session is the basics of personal finance. You know, how to save, how to reduce your spending or spend more effectively or that kind of thing. The third one is the basics of investing, because I think that's most people's kind of blind spot. They don't really understand investing specifically. You know, savings easy to understand. It's not easy to do, but it's easy to understand. But investing. And then fourth is investing in Japan. So we're talking about NISA and Ideco and Nenkin and all this stuff. And then the fifth one is kind of like everything else about personal finance in Japan. So like insurance and health insurance and tax and inheritance and, you know, buying a home or renting a home, that kind of thing. And then the sixth one, which we did last night, was a quick review and then talking about planning. So life planning and financial planning. And yeah, I think it was good. We covered everything I wanted to. Had some really good questions and interactions on the calls, and yeah, I'm super happy with how it went. Bit tired, but super happy.
Yeah. Oh, good. If it's in a group, does that mean people have to reveal their sort of their financial information in front of other people on the call?
No, it's apart from we have a big question and answer session at the end of each one, and then we have a little breakout session in the middle, kind of just to catch up. But yeah, anything you want to talk about, you can talk about. But I'm not putting people on the spot and saying, hey, you know, how much did you spend last night when you went out? You know, like justify your existence. Yeah, no, nothing like that. So
didn't you do some training or something before you could do this? You got some qualification or something, didn't you?
Nope.
You got Japanese.
Not to be a coach. No, I've failed the financial planner test a couple of times. So due to a combination of laziness and Japanese reading ability, basically.
Right, I remember now. Yeah, it sounded very tough.
No, I'm going to take it. I will pass it next year. It's one of my goals for next year. We're going to get the financial planner thing.
Yeah. Oh, good. So it was a success. You're running it again then?
Yeah, I'm hoping to do it in January. So I'm thinking just going forward, because I've done a lot of coaching, so working one-on-one with people. But I found about half my clients were basically, we don't know what to do, you know, help us out, give us a basic roadmap. And I was like, well, it might be more useful to have a more in-depth course that people can go through, rather than having, you know, 45 minutes on a call with me and try and cover the same thing. So I'm kind of that's why I made the course, just to kind of let those people who basically needed a maybe more in-depth, more long, kind of medium term kind of guidance, step by step into personal finance, rather than having to pay for it one by one.
So you'd have
that was the idea.
Once a month or once a quarter or something like that.
What was it?
You'd have a catch up once a month or once a quarter or something
with coaching clients.
Yeah.
It's generally one-offs. So my coaching's just single sessions. So it's like, okay, what do you need?
And they could come back in the future if they wanted to.
Come back, and so it's basically we'd have a session. I'd be like, okay, so this is, you know, the kind of basic roadmap. And they'd like, okay, I'll go and do that, and then come back. And we'd be like, okay, so what do I invest in? You know, and here are the options. So I thought it'd be a lot easier just to do the course. So I'm hoping that the course will meet that need for kind of like a crash course in kind of personal finance in Japan.
Yeah.
That's what that's for. And then the coaching is going to be for more kind of specialized issues where people are, you know, have this issue that I'd like help with, rather than, you know, I don't know what to do.
Okay, that makes sense. General and specific kind of thing. Yeah,
basically. Well, just trying to be more effective, because I feel I can help more people if I've got a course, and also it's kind of more fun to do it with others.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the live cohort. I'm actually doing a couple of courses myself at the moment. So I took a writing course last month. I'm doing a YouTuber course at the moment with Ali Abdal, and it's really good. So that's really interesting too. I'm getting lots of tips on how to run the course, as well as lots of tips on how to do YouTube.
Right. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I did find when we did the conference last year, we had very, very good speakers, but also we got really good comments in the chat at the same time from people who had got personal experience about a particular thing. They might not have been experts, but just hearing somebody's experience of something was very, very valuable. So I can imagine how a group call would be similar.
Yeah, and it's nice having peers that you can sympathize with as well.
Yes, yeah.
You know, because it might be a bit intimidating just talking to me, because I'll be like, okay, this is what you do, you know. Whereas they can't be like, it's better to have someone who's like, yeah, I don't understand it either, you know, and then let's learn about it together. So yeah. So January is the next one. It's going to be much upgraded as well. We're going to level up, you know, the materials and so on. So
is there going to be a link in the description?
There is. I'm trying to keep track of this. What else did I promise to put in the link in the description? Right.
English Furusato Nozei site.
Yeah, and Twitter about the things and the course. I think that's it, right? Link-wise.
So
cool. All right. So I think we're done with news. We need little flashcards or something, or like little next time. We'll get something for next time. All right, next we're going to do a deep dive on something. So our topic for today is actually the RetireJapan Forum, because I'm guessing some people might not be familiar with it. Some of our, you know, thousands of listeners on this live broadcast. So you mentioned it just before that you mainly lurk on the forum.
Yes.
So I think that might be the first thing, that you don't have to join the forum. You don't have to register. It's all public. So you can just go on there and look at threads and you know, see if anything seems interesting, and just lurk and read. And that's perfectly fine. But if you want to post, you have to register.
Right. Yeah. The value I get from it is when there's something specific, for example, gift tax, which I think you're going to talk about later. I had no clue what that was, and on the forum, sure enough, there are people who have asked before and people who have explained, and got the answer very quickly.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's 25,000 posts on there, so some of them are probably going to be useful.
Yeah, a lot of
Cool. That wasn't very deep, was it? But I don't think we need to. Basically, go to the forum if you have a question, and it might be answered already. And if it isn't, then you can register quite easily and just post a quick question. The forum is a nice place. I work quite hard at keeping it that way. Like our rules are basically, you have to be nice, you have to be helpful, and if you're not nice or not helpful, we'll kick you out. I don't tolerate any kind of unpleasantness. Like there's too many unpleasant spaces on the internet. So this forum is different. It's nice and people are helpful. Yeah,
I've found it very helpful. I haven't seen any like people being nasty.
No, I've only had to kick out 3 people, I think, in the whole history of the thing. So it's working quite well.
Yeah. Before we go on, Ben, I've just seen we have a viewer. Hello.
We have a viewer. Hey, hey, welcome. You're our first viewer. You should get a prize for being a viewer.
And Ramsa's got a question.
Oh.
I think this is about the Furusato Nozei, when you said you haven't really done it.
Yep.
So the question is there any reason why you wouldn't want to do it? They're surprised to hear that you wouldn't do it given the content of the website, personal finance. And they hope they're not missing something because they've always maxed it. Yeah, like me. So why not you, Ben?
Yeah, no, it's laziness. It's just laziness. I don't like paperwork, and there's like 2 or 3 steps you have to go through to do it, and I could never be bothered. But maybe I should, because I do pay local inhabitants tax, and you know, I do like food, so there's lots of food on. I should probably take another look at it. And I think it's got easier. So they've made it even easier now. Once you know you can use my number and stuff. I think when I did it, I screwed it up and I had to do a tax return manually.
Oh,
and that was really annoying, because the only reason I was doing the tax return is because I screwed up my Furusato Nozei. So that might have just left me with a negative impression. But yeah, there's not really any reason. I mean, some people don't do it for kind of ideological reasons, where they think that local taxes should actually stay in the local community and be used for their area rather than sending that money somewhere else where it's going to be used differently. But on the whole, there's no practical reason not to do it, I think.
Yeah. Just be aware of the limits that you
Yeah. Be careful not to overspend, because then you're just giving your money away for nothing, basically. Cool. Awesome. I can't believe we've got a viewer.
We have a second comment. They're piling in. Alexander and Josh.
We should do Mr. Beast type things where we're like, yeah, you get $10,000. Yeah, you get $10,000.
A couple of nice hello and thank you comments. Yeah, that's very nice.
Oh, awesome. Much fantastic. Yeah, darn, our secret broadcast was foiled. Awesome. All right, what we got next?
Well, you mentioned the forum. I think we were going to look at a couple of topics,
highlight
particular.
a couple of things. Okay, so I've got three today. One was, I was really happy to see someone was talking about their mortgage. They're paying quite a high rate on their mortgage. We got some advice saying, yeah, why don't you just remortgage with a different bank? And it turned out they couldn't, because their circumstances had changed, so they couldn't get a new mortgage. But a couple of people mentioned, hey, why don't you just tell the bank you're going to change banks, even though you can't, and see what happens? And they did. And the bank went from offering them a 2.3% mortgage to, I think 1.1. So huge win. And all thanks to the forum. So I was really pleased to see that.
Wow. Yeah. How have they got a 2.3% mortgage? Because rates have been so low.
It was fixed. It was fixed, and the fixed term ended, and then the bank was like, yeah, your new fixed term is 2.4 or something.
Wow, really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, just outrageous. So, but they would have had no option but to just take it if they hadn't figured out that you can actually bluff. You can say like, yeah, we're going to take our mortgage to another bank. And most banks will negotiate at that point, because they want to keep you, as long as you're not losing them money. So right. Just realized you said, yeah, it's crazy, 2.4% for people watching this in. If you're in another country, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean any offense. 2.4 is crazy. Yeah, but you got to realize, best mortgages now in Japan are under 0.3 floating. So you can get a mortgage for like 0.29, I think, at the moment. Really? Wow. Whereas the UK, it's what, like 6 or something? Yeah, wow. So we got just under 1% a few years ago, which we could have got it lower, but we got it fixed for the whole 30 or 35 years. That's worth doing for peace of mind, I think. Exactly. Yeah. Ours is 0.5 floating, which I was happy with at the time, but it's fine. It hasn't changed. They haven't tried to put it up. So, all right. Fingers crossed. So top tip, if they do, threaten to move to a different bank and see how they react. Yes. Although I also cannot move to a different bank because I'm not employed anymore. So I wouldn't be able to get another mortgage. Right. So yeah, there's lots of people, I think, in that situation where you kind of fluke your first mortgage and then your circumstances change and then you're kind of stuck with your bank, but you can bluff or lie, depending on, your interpretation of that. But RetireJapan doesn't condone that. No, of course not. No, but I believe in negotiating strongly with companies that are trying to rip you off. Yeah, I didn't think that was really acceptable in Japan, but sounds like it is in some cases. Yeah, I mean, they're going to take as much as they can, aren't they? So I think if your initial application is a bit borderline, they'll give you a higher rate. So, for example, if you haven't got permanent residency, it's not impossible to get a mortgage, but you'll find very few banks willing to offer you one. And the ones that do will give you a much higher rate than they would to someone with permanent residency. Right. So you might be on that kind of situation. So, and the second one, so we had that fantastic mortgage win, which was pretty cool. We had a question about starting junior NISA, right now in late 2022. And I thought that was quite important because of the timing. So junior NISA is going to end at the end of next year. And junior NISA contribution is yearly. So if you opened a junior NISA tomorrow, you might be in time to put in this year's allowance. Right. And that's probably worth doing. If you've got the cash and you've got kids and you want to send them cash into the future, then junior NISA is a really good way to do that. When they say they're stopping the junior NISA next year, that doesn't mean they're closing your account, giving you all your money back. That's the system's ending. So it was only a 10-year system. They made a 10-year thing, and it's going to end, and they're not going to renew it at the moment.
Right.
So
what happens if you have got a junior NISA? You just started it this year, for example.
Well, they changed the rules because originally junior NISA, the money was locked until the child reached the age of 18. So you couldn't access your money. But because they're scrapping the system, they changed the rules. So after 2024, you can take the money out whenever you want, and it's still tax-free. So it's actually amazing. It's really, really good. Or you can leave it in there and it'll be tax-free until the child reaches 18. So win-win.
Oh, okay.
My granddaughter's got quite a big junior NISA, so we've maxed it out for the last 5 or 6 years, and yeah, she's incredibly wealthy for a 10-year-old.
Happy for a 10-year-old.
We haven't told her about it yet, though.
No.
I'm gonna have to pick. You don't want to tell them too early because they'll tell their friends or something. But
yes,
once she's a bit more mature, I want to go through it with her and make sure she doesn't spend it on a bag or something when she gets to 18, because it does become their money. They get control of the account. So.
Right.
Not only do you have to get the money ready, you also have to prepare the child for the responsibility of having a huge amount of cash at the age of 18. So so junior NISA, if you haven't got one, you might be in time to get this year's allowance, and you can probably you will be able to get next year's allowance. So that's probably worth doing. And last one, gift tax. Yes. There was a thread about gift tax. So basically someone's parents in another country were going to give them a large amount of money, and they were trying to figure out if they could have it as an early inheritance or as gift tax, because those are both options you could do with that situation.
Oh, early inheritance. I didn't know that.
So basically, if you get some money from someone who you're going to inherit from, you can say it's an inheritance, and then you don't I think you don't pay tax on it, and then when person passes away, then you'd pay inheritance tax on the gift or something. I'm not entirely sure of how it works, but it's explained in the thread on the forum, which you should go to and read. Link in the description.
Is this the point where we have to say this is not financial advice, it's for educational purposes only?
No, it's a forum on the internet. So,
Right.
I mean, basically, any information on the forum pretty much is like someone's opinion, or it's a link to a source. And what you choose to do with that person's opinion or that link to the source is up to you. But I think most people understand that. And luckily, Japan is not a litigious culture. So fingers crossed, no one's going to sue me because they read something on the forum and then decided to buy triple leveraged Bitcoin or something. Hopefully.
Which is the topic of next show.
Why I'm leaving Japan. Someone sued me for exactly.
So going back to the gift tax, this is just something I just found out about this year. And I was surprised because I was very naive. I didn't realize that the government could tax me if I gave money to my wife, theoretically.
Well, tax her. But
right, yes, as a recipient. That surprised me. So then I looked into it, and it's not as bad as I thought, because there is a limit, and then there is a bit extra for personal expenses. So it's not like you're not going to get thrown into jail immediately if you give her some money, basically.
Yeah. I mean, basically, to start with, any household living spending is not counted.
Right.
But that's in the eyes of the tax office. So they get to decide what is, if you get audited. I mean, this isn't going to come up unless you get audited. So for the vast majority of people, this is never going to be an issue. So that's okay. And then each person can receive up to 1.1 million yen a year, tax-free.
1.1 million
from all sources. So it's not a single from one person 1.1 million, it's from all gifts 1.1 million. That's tax-free, and then after that it goes in bands. So the first X amount is taxed at 10%, the next X amount is taxed at 20%, but it gets quite high quite quickly. So it's not a very good way to give people money. It's taxed quite punitively, gift taxes.
Right. 1.1 million in today's rate, that's about $8,000, I think, isn't it? Per year. But that's also for each person. It's not like I can only give away.
Because it's the recipient.
Right.
So you can give whatever you want to anyone, and it doesn't ever come back to you. But they may have to declare the gift if it goes over 1.1 million for them within a calendar year. I quite like the systems. I mean, not the fact that there is gift tax, but the fact that you can give people that much. So I've been using it to give money to like my grandkids or my kids, because I quite like don't know if you read Die with Zero by Bill Perkins.
I haven't, no.
So it was a huge book, like all the personal finance people were writing about this book maybe a couple of years ago. But basically his theory is that you should use your money while you're alive rather than, building it up and then dying and then having people fight over it.
Oh, that makes sense.
So, whether you use it on experiences or whether you give it to your family while you're there to enjoy it with them rather than, leaving it in the will kind of things. But I quite like the idea.
Yeah.
And, you basically avoid inheritance tax if you've already given everything away. So,
yeah. So is that allowance quite high then compared to other countries?
1.1? I think it depends. So like Sweden, for example, my daughter's in Sweden, and Sweden doesn't have a gift tax. So, and of course, sending money from Japan doesn't incur tax. Only receiving it would incur tax. So I can give them as much as I want to. So,
but in Japan, even children, if they're the recipient, they will be liable to tax above that limit.
Yeah, they'd have to declare it, I think.
Even children, wow.
But I mean, 1.1 million it's quite a lot. You wouldn't give it as pocket money, would you?
Well, hopefully
and
not.
Of course, things like educational expenses. So like grandparents, for example, are allowed to pay educational expenses on behalf of their grandchildren.
Right.
For example, that's another way to go over that. You could pay for university, for example.
Oh, really? And that would be separate to it? Oh, okay. All right. So it's not an issue that's going to affect most people? Most
people, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you remember a few years back, the Prime Minister got into trouble, Hatoyama, because it came out that his mummy was giving him something like 20 million yen a month or something in living expenses. And he had to stand up in the Diet and say, yeah, this is not a gift. This is my living expenses because I need 20 million yen a month or whatever it was. So, yeah, very embarrassing.
Don't we all? Wow.
So they have a lot of, it's basically up to the tax office to decide whether something is a gift or whether it counts as living expenses. So.
Right. Common sense then, I think, really.
Yeah, I try not to depend on the common sense of public officials in terms of deciding, my fate. So yeah, best to try and avoid that if possible. Cool. All right. I think we've rambled on quite a bit. We are going to have Q&As in the future. So we're actually going to announce the next one, maybe. I think it's gone all right, hasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone all right. So the next time we will announce it ahead of time. We might have a few more people joining the live, perhaps. And the next session is going to be
26th of December.
Boxing Day. Yes.
It's
in Japan, where nothing actually happens on Boxing Day. And it's a Monday. So
these are always going to be on Mondays, I think, aren't they?
But now, I think Monday works really well for me. We can put it in the newsletter. We can put it in the Monday read, where we're going to get the biggest audience, I think. So
yes, and frequency once a month. I think we're thinking.
Once a month for now.
Yeah,
we want to keep it fresh, don't we?
Yes.
We might have some guests at some point as well, because we can get some more people on this Zoom call. So
that'd be good. Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Thank you. Have we still got people on the call? I can't see it.
Yes, we have. Yeah,
we have. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, our impromptu session. I hope it wasn't confusing. And we'll be back in a month and a bit. December 26th, 8 p.m. Be there or be doing something more interesting.
On that note.
On that note.